Good afternoon, my friends. My name is Melissa from Melissa's Struggling Walk with Jesus. It is about 4:40 in the afternoon on Wednesday, October 8th, and I am using the Amplified Holy Bible and the Navigator's Bible reading plan to share the Word of God with you. And I am sharing Month 3, Reading 20D, chapters 18 through 21 in the book of Deuteronomy. So chapter 18 starts out with the portion of the Levites, and it says, "The Levitical priest, the entire tribe of Levi, shall own privately no portion of land or inheritance with Israel. They shall eat the Lord's offering by fire and his portion. They shall have no inheritance of land among their countrymen, brethren. The Lord is their inheritance, as he promised them. Now this shall be the priest's portion from the people, from those offering a sacrifice, either an ox or a sheep. They shall give to the priest the shoulder and the 2 cheeks and the stomach. You shall also give him the first fruits of your grain, your new wine, the first of the season, and your olive oil, and the first sheared fleece of your sheep. For the Lord your God has chosen him and his sons from all your tribes, to stand and serve in the name of the Lord forever. Now if a Levite comes from any of your cities throughout Israel where he resides, and comes whenever he wishes to the sanctuary, the place which the Lord chooses, then he shall serve in the name of the Lord his God, like all his fellow Levites who stand there before the Lord. They shall have equal portions to eat, except what they receive from the sale of their father's estates." Check out Jeremiah chapter 32, verses 6 through 15. All right, Deuteronomy chapter 18, starting with verse 9, the title turns into Spiritism Forbidden, and it says, "When you enter the land which the Lord your God is giving you, you shall not learn to imitate the detestable, repulsive practices of those nations. There shall not be found among you anyone who makes his son or daughter pass through the fire as a sacrifice, one who uses divination and fortune-telling, one who practices witchcraft, or one who interprets omens, or a sorcerer, or one who casts a charm or spell, or a medium, or a spiritist, or a necromancer who seeks the dead. For everyone who does these things is utterly repulsive to the Lord. And because of these detestable practices, the Lord your God is driving them out before you. You shall be blameless, complete, perfect before the Lord your God. For these nations which you shall dispossess listen to those who practice witchcraft, and to diviners and fortune-tellers. But as for you, the Lord your God has not allowed you to do so. The Lord your God will raise up for you a prophet like me, Moses, from among you, from your countrymen, brethren. You shall listen to him." Check out Matthew chapter 21, verse 11, and John chapter 1, verse 21. Verse 16, "This is according to all that you asked of the Lord your God at Horeb, Mount Sinai, on the day of the assembly, saying, Let me not hear the voice of the Lord my God again, nor see this great fire any more, so that I will not die. The Lord said to me, They have spoken well. I will rise up a prophet from among their countrymen like you, and I will put my words in his mouth, and he shall speak to them all that I command him. It shall come about that whoever will not listen to my words which he shall speak in my name, I myself will require it of him, and there will be consequences. But the prophet who presumes to speak a word in my name, which I have not commanded him to speak, or which he speaks in the name of other gods, that prophet shall die. If you say in your heart, How will we know and recognize the word which the Lord has not spoken? When a prophet speaks in the name of the Lord, and a thing does not happen or come true, that is the thing which the Lord has not spoken. The prophet has spoken it presumptuously. You shall not be afraid of him. That is all of chapter 18. All right, verse 2 says, They shall have no inheritance of land among their countrymen, brothers, brethren. The Lord is their inheritance, as he promised them. The word inheritance. Certain towns in grazing lands were designated for the Levites' use, as well as portions of the tithes and sacrifices of the people. Verse 6 says, Now if a Levite comes to many of your cities throughout Israel where he resides, and comes whenever he wishes to the sanctuary, the place which the Lord chooses, where it says he wishes. Other literature says it pleases his soul. Verse 7, Then he shall serve in the name of the Lord his God, like all his fellow Levites who stand there before the Lord. Where it says stand there before the Lord, this is the literal Hebrew here is stand before the face of, and in this context it implies stand ready to serve. All right, verse 8 says, They shall have equal portions to eat, except what they receive from the sale of their father's estates, where it says equal portions to eat. They were to share equally in the benefits of the priesthood. All right, verse 15 says, The Lord your God will raise up for you a prophet like me, Moses, from among you, from your countrymen, brothers, brethren. You shall listen to him. Where it says prophet or prophet, if this is a prophetic reference to Jesus. All right, we're going to start in with chapter 19. The title is Cities of Refuge, and it says, When the Lord your God cuts off, destroys the nations whose land he is giving you, and you dispossess them and live in their cities and in their houses, you shall designate 3 cities for yourself in the central area of the land, which the Lord your God is giving you to possess. You shall prepare and maintain for yourself the roads to these cities, and divide the territory of your land into 3 parts, so that anyone who kills another unintentionally may escape there for asylum. Now this is the case of the offender, manslayer, who may escape there and live protected from vengeance when he kills his neighbor unintentionally, not having hated him previously. As, for example, when a man goes into the forest with his neighbor to cut wood, and his hand swings the axe to cut down the tree, but the iron head slips off the wooden handle and hits his companion, and he dies. The offender may escape to one of these cities and live. Otherwise, the avenger of blood might pursue the offender in the heat of anger and overtake him, because it is a long way, and take his life, even though he did not deserve to die, since he did not hate his neighbor beforehand. Therefore, I command you, saying, You shall set aside 3 cities of refuge for yourself. If the Lord your God enlarges your border, as he has sworn to your fathers to do, and gives you all the land which he promised to give to your fathers, if you keep and carefully observe all these commandments which I am commanding you today, to love the Lord your God, and to walk, that is, to live each and every day always in his ways, then you shall add 3 more cities of refuge for yourself besides these 3, so that innocent blood will not be shed by blood avengers in your land, which the Lord your God is giving you as an inheritance, and blood guilt will not be on you for the death of an innocent man. But if there is a man who hates his neighbor and lies in wait and ambush for him, and attacks him, and strikes him down so that he dies, and the assailant escapes to one of these cities, then the elders of his own city shall send for him and have him taken back from there, and turn him over to the avenger of blood. so that he may be put to death. You shall not pity him, the guilty one, but you shall purge the blood of the innocent from Israel, so that it may go well with you. All right, Deuteronomy chapter 19, starting with verse 14. The title is Laws of Landmark and Testimony, and it says, You shall not move your neighbor's boundary mark, which the forefathers, who first divided the territory, have set, in the land which you will inherit, in the land which the Lord your God is giving you to possess. A single witness shall not appear in a trial against a man for any wrong or any sin which he has commanded or committed. Only on the testimony or evidence of 2 or 3 witnesses shall a charge be confirmed. If a malicious witness rises up against a man to falsely accuse him of wrongdoing, then both parties to the controversy shall stand before the Lord, before the priest and the judges who will be in office at that time. The judges shall investigate thoroughly, and if the witness is a false witness, and he has accused his brother falsely, then you shall do to him just as he had intended to do to his brother. So you shall remove the evil from among you. Those who remain will hear and be afraid, and will never again do such an evil thing among you. You shall not show pity to the guilty one. It shall be life for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot. That is all of chapter 19. All right, verse 6 says, Otherwise the avenger of blood might pursue the offender in the heat of the anger and overtake him because it is a long way, and take his life, even though he did not deserve to die, since he did not hate his neighbor before him, where it says avenger of blood. The nearest male relative of the victim, known as the kinsman redeemer, Hebrew Goel, was responsible to find the guilty party and put him to death. Check out Numbers chapter 35, verse 19. The person who had committed the homicide was protected until his trial, so long as he remained the one in one of the 3 cities. After that, if he was judged innocent of any premeditation, like someone today judged guilty of manslaughter but not murder, he was to remain in the city under protection from the avenger until the death of the high priest, at which time he would return to his home as a free man. Check out Numbers chapter 35, verse 28. And verse 15 says, A single witness shall not appear in a trial against a man for any wrong or any sin which he has committed. Only on the testimony or evidence of 2 or 3 witnesses shall a charge be confirmed, where it says on the testimony. Other literature has in the mouth of. All right, we're going to start in with chapter 20. The title is Laws of Warfare, and it says, When you go out to battle against your enemies and see horses and chariots and people more numerous than you, do not be afraid of them, for the Lord your God, who brought you up from the land of Egypt, is with you. When you approach the battle, the priest shall come forward and speak to the people, and shall say to them, Hear, O Israel, you are advancing today to battle against your enemies. Do not lack courage. Do not be afraid, or panic, or tremble in terror before them. For the Lord your God is he who goes with you to fight for you against your enemies, to save you. Check out 1 Samuel chapter 17, verse 45. Verse 5. The officers shall also speak to the soldiers, saying, What man is there who has built a new house and has not yet dedicated it? Let him go and return to his house. Otherwise he might die in the battle, and another man would dedicate it. When a man has planted a vineyard and has not yet put it to use, harvesting its fruit, let him go and return to his house. Otherwise he might die in the battle, and another man would begin to use its fruit. And who is the man who is engaged, legally promised to a woman, and has not married her? Let him go and return to his house, otherwise he might die in the battle, and another man would marry her. Then the officers shall speak further to the soldiers and say, Who is the man who is afraid and lacks courage? Let him go and return to his house, so that he does not cause his brother's courage to fail like his own. And it shall be that when the officers have finished speaking to the soldiers, they shall appoint commanders of armies over them. When you advance to a city to fight against it, you shall first offer it terms of peace. If that city accepts your terms of peace and opens its gates to you, then all the people who are found in it shall become your forced labor and shall serve you. However, if it does not make peace with you, but makes war against you, then you shall lay siege to it. When the Lord your God gives it into your hand, you shall strike down all the men in it with the edge of the sword. Only the women and the children and the animals, and everything that is in the city, all its spoil, you shall take as plunder for yourself, and you shall use the spoil of your enemies, which the Lord your God has given you. That is what you shall do to all the cities that are very far away from you, which are not among the cities of these nations nearby, which you are to dispossess. Only in the cities of these peoples, that the Lord your God is giving you as an inheritance, you shall not leave alive anything that breathes. But you shall utterly destroy them, the Hittite, the Amorite, the Canaanite, the Perizzite, the Hivite, and the Jebusite, just as the Lord your God has commanded you, so that they will not teach you to act in accordance with all the detestable practices which they have done in worship and service for their gods, and in this way cause you to sin against the Lord your God. And when you besiege a city for a long time, making war against it, in order to capture it, you shall not destroy its fruit-bearing trees by swinging an axe against them, for you may eat from them, and you shall not cut them down. For it is the tree of the field of man, that it should be besieged, destroyed by you. Only the trees which you know are not fruit trees shall you destroy and cut down, so that you may build siege works against the city that is making war with you until it falls. That is all of chapter 20. All right, verse 5 says, The officers shall also speak to the soldiers, saying, What man is there who has built a new house and has not yet dedicated it? Let him go and return to his house, otherwise he might die in the battle, and another man would dedicate it. Where it says soldiers, this in other literatures has people in place of soldiers, and so throughout. Excuse me. Also in verse 5, where it says dedicated it. For example, to the temple. The rabbis said that ownership of a house was required for dedication. Here, dedication seems to have established ownership when the original owner died. Also in verse 5, where it says, let him. The point of the admonitions in verses 5 through 8 is that with the Lord's help, Israel would have no need of a large military force, and the officers could afford to dismiss anyone who was not completely prepared for battle. All right, verse 19 says, When you besiege a city for a long time, making war against it in order to capture it, you shall not destroy its fruit-bearing trees by swinging an axe against them. For you may eat from them, and you shall not cut them down. For it is the tree of the field, a man, that it should be besieged and destroyed by you. Where it says a long time, other literature has many days. All right, verse 20. Only the trees which you know are not fruit trees shall you destroy and cut down, so that you may build siege works against the city that is making war with you until it falls. Where it says fruit trees. Other literature has trees for eating. Where it says siege works, this is battering rams, ladders, towers, etc. All right, chapter 21 starts out with the expiation of a crime, and it says, if someone is found slain, lying in the field, in the land which the Lord your God gives you to possess, and it is not known who has killed it, then your elders and judges shall go out and measure the distance to the cities which are around the dead person. It shall be that the elders of the city which is nearest to the dead man shall take a heifer of the herd, one which has not been worked, and which is not pulled in a yoke. And the elders of that city shall bring the heifer down to a river valley with running water, which has not been plowed or planted, and shall break the heifer's neck there in the valley. Then the priests, the sons of Levi, shall approach, for the Lord your God has chosen them to serve him and to bless in the name the presence of the Lord. And every dispute and every assault, violent crime, shall be settled by them. All the elders of that city nearest to the dead man shall wash their hands over the heifer whose neck was broken in the valley. And they shall respond and say, our hands did not shed this blood, nor did our eyes see it. Forgive your people Israel, whom you have redeemed, O Lord, and do not put the guilt of innocent blood among your people Israel. And the guilt of blood shall be forgiven them. So shall you remove the guilt of innocent blood from among you, when you do what is right in the sight of the Lord. All right, Deuteronomy chapter 21, starting with verse 10. The title is Domestic Relations, and it says, when you go out to battle against your enemies, and the Lord your God hands them over to you, and you lead them away captive, you see a beautiful woman among the captives, and desire her, and would take her as your wife. Then you shall bring her home to your house, and she shall shave her head and trim her nails in preparation for mourning. She shall take off the clothes of her captivity and remain in your house, and weep and mourn for her father and her mother a full month. After that you may go in to her and be her husband, and she shall be your wife. But it shall be that if you have no delight and take no pleasure in her, then you shall let her go wherever she wishes. You certainly shall not sell her for money. You shall not deal with her as a slave or mistreat her, because you have humbled her by forced marriage. If a man has two wives, one loved and the other unloved, and both the loved and the unloved have borne him sons, and the firstborn son belongs to the unloved wife, then on the day when he wills his possessions to his son, he cannot treat the son of his loved wife as firstborn in place of the son of the unloved wife, the actual firstborn. Instead, he shall acknowledge the son of the unloved as the firstborn by giving him a double portion of all that he has. For he has the beginning of his strength, generative power. To him belongs the right of the firstborn. If any man has a stubborn and rebellious son who will not obey the voice of his father or his mother, and when they reprimand and discipline him, he will not listen to them, then his father and mother shall take hold of him and bring him out to the elders of his city at the gateway of his hometown. They shall say to the elders of his city, this son of ours is stubborn and rebellious. He will not obey us. He is a glutton and a drunkard. Check out Proverbs chapter 23, verses 20 through 22. Then all the men of his city shall stone him to death. So you shall remove the evil from among you, and all Israel will hear of it and be afraid. And if a man has committed a sin worthy of death, and he is put to death, and afterward you hang him on a tree as a public example. Check out Joshua chapter 10, verses 26 and 27. Verse 23. His body shall not hang all night on the tree, but you shall most certainly bury him on the same day, for he who is hanged is cursed by God, so that you do not defile your land, which the Lord your God gives you as an inheritance. Check out Galatians chapter 3, verse 13. All right, that's all of chapter 21. This is all of Deuteronomy that I am sharing in this video. I hope that you have listened. I hope that you put these good words to use in your life. And I pray that God blesses each and every one of you. Thank you in Jesus' name. Amen.